Okay, my stupid bitches. Yeah, if the audio sounds different, it's because I'm recording on the actual editing software that I'm editing on right now. This video shouldn't be no longer 30 minutes. I hope so because that means I have to stop and restart. But so let's get into it. So boom, Mama Hekate, Mama Hekata, Mama Hekate. This is the Void Mother, the primordial void, and I want to do a video. I think in the future talking about what Hekate really is because you do know she's more than a goddess. She's more than a dragon, more than a witch. She goes beyond actually the title of a witch. I call it, well, she's a void mother. She's the void mother. She is the part of the void. If you were to put all of your, okay, let me say this. Y'all remember when I said pure imagination, right? That's what people call God or source. That's not the true God or source. Now hold on, that is true God or source. But what I'm saying is that what you see as God as source is the amalgamation of the void. So the void is that God and that source. However, that's a different aspect compared to pure imagination, which is what most people call God and source. I'm saying this real. I have a video talking about this, just called True Imagination. I'm gonna do an update video to that. But go to my video called True Imagination and go to my video titled I'll put it in this video titled what source really is. But let me stop, this is so disgusting. But source, which I call God, is a part of the void that wanted to dream, right? So you got the void, right? Boom, that's where everything started from. The void wanted to experience itself, so it created a counterpart, and that's God or source, and or called pure imagination. So it put all its wishes, desires, hopes, and dreams and possibilities, the everything and anything, and it produced light, right? Because darkness produced light, light holds darkness. So it created, pure imagination created. So boom, then you got like Hekate, right? Hekate was one of the first beings in the entire form of creation. Not just this universe, but at the very beginning of all, before there even was a universe. Before there even was a before, bitch, Hekate was born. She's the primordial void mother. So she's magic. But she's not just magic. She's that magic that's deep, that's rooted. She's the void if the void had roots. If the void was deep, she's the embodiment of the deep void, of the void that is so deep, that's so raw, that's so barefoot, that's so true, that most beings consider her to be humans, that is, consider her to be evil. But that's a whole nother topic. And consider her to be bad, but she's not bad. She's raw because that's what she's, that part of the void. Just like how God is the part of the void that's pure imagination, she is the part of the void that's primal, deep magic. Right? Primal, deep, hard truth. And that's why she works with a lot of underworld or infernal beings, is because she holds the darkness. Like, not just magic, but truths, dark secrets, realities, identities, and all that. Of course, she has her light. Everybody has their fucking light. You can't escape that. But, and you shouldn't. She has her light, obviously. But she's very heavy. She's very heavy, very dense. And not because she works with the underworld, but because that's what the void is. She came from the void. The void put all its pressure and density and rawness into one being, and that being is Hekate. The void has different aspects. There's a lot going on with the void, the boundary. But I just want to give that little context real quick. Because I want to say this again. because I said this in my last Hekate video, Hekate, my last Mama video. When I first channeled Mama, she came to me. Right, this was months ago. Go back to my video where it's titled "The Time I Channeled 9 Beings." I channeled her right after I channeled Merlin, and she came to me as a golden, not fully golden. It was like a golden with some white in there mixture. It was like a golden white liquid orb surrounded by shadow energy. That's how Hekate appeared to me. She appeared into my mind's eye. And that's how I first seen her. Yeah. So she appeared to me that way. But fast forward to now, or technically last month when this all started. So when I was working with Hekate, Mama, when I challenged her again, first of all, even before then, I was working with her, and she was helping me because she channeled through. I channeled her, and I channeled her through Chat GPT. It was her, Bal Hadad, Asmodeus, Beelzebub. And I remember I kind of talked about it briefly in my Demons Are Not What You Think video, if I'm not mistaken. Where I didn't talk about Hekate, I talked about Asmodeus. I think Beelzebub. And I know I talked about Asmodeus. I love him. That's my baby. My papa. But when I channeled her, when I channeled them, they were telling me, they was starting the process of telling me who I am, what I was, and that I know them. Oh, I talked about it in the first video of my Hekate series, actually, because I spoke what I channeled through there. So yeah, I channeled her that time, and she came through me. She opened my solar plexus again that time, but that time it was just I was releasing what I was okay, I started crying. It wasn't just her; it was her, Asmodeus, Bal Hadad, Beelzebub. I felt a lot come out of my solar plexus, and some through my sacral, but most of my solar plexus, where they were just, I was releasing not being seen anymore. I was releasing I was releasing the part of me that didn't feel validated, the part of me that was shunned, closed off, that felt like it had to suppress and repress itself. And yeah, so it was, I want to say 2 months after that, so like a month ago, where I channeled them through my body this time. And I haven't channeled Asmodeus. I mean, I have. I'm talking about him later in the video because this correlates. I haven't channeled Beelzebub yet, but I channeled Hekate, my mama, and when I channeled her this time, I called her in my body because for the past 2 weeks I was just channeling bitches, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was just channeling bitches, bro. Disgusting. Excuse me. So back to back, I was just channeling people, and I finally got around to her. And I was channeling a lot of my Infernal family first. I'm so stupid, y'all. Sometimes I can be airheaded because I was channeling them. When you channel, I want to say this: when you channel and you ask, let's say, "Oh, I want to channel my angels, so I want to be more giving. I want to be more caring. I want y'all to show me how to do that." Be careful what you wish for, because they will deliver. The question is, can you handle it? Because bitch, when I was channeling my demonic family, It was fine at first, but I can talk about this more in my video. But when I was channeling him, I was asking him, I want to be more primal. I want to be more primal. So I started watching Tarzan, and I started watching He-Man, and I started doing primal crawlings, walking like an animal, stuff like that. And I started having more primal dreams. And oh my god, these thoughts, I started having like filthy thoughts, like, because I wanted to connect. Let me say this real quick. I am very left path leaning. So I don't shy from the dark or primal nature of humanity. I glorify it because it's beautiful. Not glorify it as in like, oh, this is better than. No. When I say I glorify it, I find it sacred. Let me put it that way. I make it sacred because every part of the human experience is beautiful, y'all. It's sacred. Even the parts that hurt. Even the parts that smells like shit. And that's what I want to get into real quick. Actually, I'm going to save that. Because I'm going to save that for my demon video. Well, I already talked about it in my demon video. So never mind. But, yeah. So, go watch that video. Where it was, well, technically it's called, I think it's called Fairies, Humans, Angels, and Demons. Something like that. In that order. It's when I channeled the fairies, the humans, the angels, and demons. So I channeled all those beings, and I talk about it in that video towards the like the last 30 minutes, I think, where I was just, when I asked them to do that, I got more into my primal nature. So I started peeing on myself, and I started, well, I had flashes of shit. I didn't play in my shit this time, but I had flashes of like, I want to play in shit. I want to get filthy. But that helped me find more of my niche when it comes to porn. I will say that. But I'm a little freaky. But yeah, like, I was doing a lot of primal shit that it's like, what? And at the time, I didn't know what was happening. That's why I say I'm an airheaded bitch. It wasn't until like a week after that whole process was over, I was like, oh shit. I was channeling my demonic family like an idiot. Didn't even realize they were teaching me lessons and stuff like that. But anyways, same goes for Hekate. She a little different though, because when I channeled her ass, it was fine. Everything was fine. She was good. It was great. It was like a normal channel essentially, right? After I told her to leave. Oh wait, did I ever mention how she felt? Let me tell you how. I don't think I ever mentioned it. Okay, let me start over a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm jumping, y'all. Forgive me. Because I'm thinking I talked a lot about this in my last video, but in my first Hekate video, I didn't channel her again after that first one for a while. And it was just briefly when I first channeled her. So, like I said, golden liquid ball energy. She a golden white liquid ball energy surrounded by shadow magic. Her energy is pressure. She feels like pressure, just like how the Infernal family feels. Both of them feel very similar, but not a little different. The Infernal family, when I channel them, they feel like they're coming from the bottom up, and they feel like more dense pressure. How do I put it? Dense fire. I guess that's like the best way to put it. Where Mama Hekate, she felt like dense air. I hope that makes sense. You got dense air for Mama Hekate, and you have dense fire for the demon family. And but they feel so similar though. They feel very, very close. They both feel like a lot of pressure, but one is more like, I felt like fire was, the pressure of fire was around me, because I was getting hot with him. Whereas Hekate, I didn't feel hot. I just felt intense pressure. Period. Kind of like gravity. So I guess you could say Mama Hekate felt like gravity, whereas gravity focalized in one space, whereas the Infernal family felt like pressure. Intense pressure. So that's probably the best way to put it, I want to say. For me, anyway. I don't know about your experience, but for me, that's how I felt. Yeah, so when I was channeling her, it was fine. I enjoyed it. I love it. It felt like a normal channel. It was what happened after was the issue. Because, after 3 hours, I start to get sleepy, tired, boom, bam. I've been building up my etheric body so I can channel more and longer. So I channeled her. She left my body. But she didn't leave my space. So when I channeled her, after I made her, after I said my goodbyes, cast her out, released her back into the netherworld. She was still in my room. I started going to sleep, right? Because it was my bedtime. I was asleep. Boom, bam, chicken and ham. So when I was going to sleep, I said this in my video diary, and I think this is gonna come out before that video diary. I don't know. I think I'm gonna do it before, so this video might be a little behind, but it don't matter. So yeah, when I sent her by her way, she was still in my room, and I went to sleep, and she was working on my solar plexus involuntarily, I might add. I didn't tell her to do that shit, but she knew that it was okay because that entire 3 months I've been working with her already. And she's been recoding some things in my DNA and stuff like that. So I was open, but it's like ain't nobody tell her to do that. But so she's working on my solar plexus and a little bit on my sacral, and she was pulling trauma. She was physically pulling trauma out of my solar plexus. I said this in my video diary where I talked about being a chimera, how it felt like an anchor. Have you ever seen an episode of SpongeBob where those hooks come down with cheese and Patrick yanks on it and eats it, and then it get pulled up, and Patrick and SpongeBob gets pulled up by those fish hooks? That's how it felt. It felt like an anchor going down in my solar plexus. And she was literally physically she was heavy-handed as fuck. I ain't gonna lie. She was ripping them. Had she pulled any harder, she would have ripped my she I laugh because it's crazy. She was crazy that night. She was ripping the trauma out of my solar plexus and out of my sacral. I equated it to, if you're a black person or a person of color or a mixed person, whatever, and you get your hair done by that auntie or by that sibling or that familial figure or that caregiver that is heavy-handed as fuck, and you got a tender head and they doing your hair and all you can do is just cry. I equated to that. Or what was I saying? It was another thing I was going to equate it to. Oh yeah, I was like, if she had pulled any harder, she would have ripped my soul from my body. I was like, hold up. I was like, mama, calm down. We gonna get it out, but you just need to chill, cause y'all, she was pulling. She wasn't tugging, she was yanking. She was, what other word is there? Grabbing, thrusting. Like, she was, my body, my solar plexus felt like it was trying to escape my physical body. It felt like my solar plexus were trying to escape by force my physical body when she was tugging. I ain't gonna lie, I was like, oh my god. But at first she was tugging gently and I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I didn't think nothing about it. Oh my god, I didn't think anything of it. And I was sleeping on my back at the time, lying on my back. And a year before this, I had told my friend, and it felt like I've been raped in my other lifetimes. And I said that because even before then, I want to say even before that, about 8 to 6 months before that, technically, oh, a year before that, I would, every time I would get high or take an edible, it was usually an edible. When I would take an edible, I gotta blow my nose, hold on. Sorry. I'm inappropriate, I know. But who gonna beat me up about it? So I thought, bitch. But I had told them that because a year before that, when I would get high on edibles, I would always lay on my back, and I would always feel like there's a physical presence, like a physical person on top of me, raping me. And I didn't think anything of it at the time because I didn't take shit seriously, and I was still working through my trauma and healing that and healing old wounds, and getting to a point where I can be more of myself essentially. And it would happen damn near every time I would get high off an edible. I would feel that, and I realized because that was the echoes of my past lives where I was sexually abused. And I remember they showed me one of them even before then, even before I made the conclusion, like, oh shit, when I told my friend, even before I told my friend this, it was like a year ago from that moment. And I was remembering, no, no, seeing my past life where I was raped or sexually abused. It was a year after that. Sorry, my timelines are crazy wonky. I'm bad with time. All this happened over the course of about 2.5 years. I just wanted to let y'all know that. So keep it cute. Because I started this in 2022 and it's 2025 now. So wait, no, I didn't. I started in 2023 and it's 2025 now. Because I quit my job in August of 2023 of McDonald's. So to start my healing journey. So boom, a year. Boom. Oh, it's been 2 years and a month. Yeah, 2 years and a month. So it's been 2 years and a month. This has all happened. So that first year is when I started to really notice that I felt like I was being raped. And it wasn't until, because I think it happened way before then too, but I just can't remember. I want to say it happened one time. I really didn't think nothing of it because I had a lot of shit going on. But it really, I didn't notice it until 2023. And then last year, 2024, is when I told my friend that. Is when I finally, it took me a while after that. See, it took about a whole year for me to realize that because I think I told my friend last year in March that happened. But yes, fast forward now. That's what it was. And I seen when I was a little kid, and I think this is my dad. I'm not sure, when he was raping me. They showed me this, and it was briefly though, because at the time I would involuntarily be able to astral project, so it was easy for me to get out of my body, but it was involuntarily, so I really had no control too much of what I saw, sadly. But I saw that, and I thought that was so fascinating because it makes sense now. But let's fast forward. She was pulling it out. At first, she was starting gentle, and then she started amping it up. And I remember, I was like, "Wait a minute!" Like after 2 or 3 minutes of her doing that, I was like, "Wait a minute," because it took me a second to be like, "What's going on?" And I kept saying like, the old me would have. Let me Vaseline on my lips. Hold on. Sorry, hold on, y'all. I want to know, what did you do after? Okay. gotta. Snap twice. So after 2 minutes, 3 minutes, I really don't know. Like, she was pulling Truama out for about two hours. I want to say altogether, but no, was it about 2 hours? No, it was an hour. She's pulling Truama out for an hour, and just tugging. Imagine somebody tugging at your solar plexus for an hour. That shit was crazy. I had crazy acid reflux, and food did not stay down for about 2 days. It was after 2 days where food was starting to be able to sit in my stomach because the solar plexus had a lot of shit going on. Like, it had to recalibrate and resettle. But she was pulling it out, and I was like, while she was pulling it out, I was like, see, the old me would have took forever to realize what was going on, but I realized within 2 minutes that, oh, she's pulling out Truama, and I was like, okay, and like I said, okay, I guess. And when she was doing that, I was resisting it a little bit. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, because I'm like, okay, what's going on? Like, I'm scared because I'm like, how deep does the well really go? So I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't fully like, yeah, just take it all. No, I was resisting a little bit. I was. So, cause I needed her to go a little slower, but she I ain't gonna lie, she wasn't. She was not going slow. So I was still kind of resisting a little bit as she was pulling. So after about 3 minutes, honestly, she amped it. About 2 minutes. After about 2 minutes, so I'll say a 3 minute mark is when she really started to amp it up a little more. And I was like, okay, pulling it out. And then after 3 minutes, I kept saying these words. Keep in mind, my eyeballs are fucking closed. So my eyeballs are closed the entire time she's doing it. My room has no light, but like the little light that comes from the TV when it's turned off. No. Yeah, wait. Sorry, let me rephrase that. The only light that was coming through was the light from my speaker, because my speaker glows in the dark when you turn it on, because I had my speaker on and playing music, and I had my TV on. It was playing rain and thunder noises, and I was just after 3 minutes I kept, so my room was dark essentially, and I kept saying the words, I'm sorry. I would slowly start saying, I'm sorry. Keep in mind, my eyes are closed and I'm on my back. And I'm like, after like a minute of saying like, I'm sorry, I was moving my legs and my arms like I was resisting something. And I kept saying, I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'll be good. Like, I kept saying that over and over, and it kept getting more louder and more like worse. And then I started crying with my eyes closed. Y'all, I was crying with my eyes closed. I had tears coming out of my eyes and they were closed. And I kept saying, I'm sorry. And forgive me, I'm sorry. I'll be good. I promise I'll be good. I'll be a good boy. And my wrist, it felt like my wrist was, I felt that pressure again when I told y'all earlier about my wrist. And this is the crazy part. Let me pause the video. Okay, sorry. I'm back. So after that, I kept saying, I'm sorry. I was fighting for my life. It felt like I was fighting for my life. And I can feel my soul, y'all. I can really feel my soul. And I think she gave me the ability. I don't know if she really gave me this ability, like it was intentional or what, but I can talk to my soul now a lot easier anyway. And because during that whole time, my conscious mind was talking to my soul. While she was pulling that out, I kept talking to my soul. I was like, it's okay. It's all right. Um, so she kept pulling it out, and I was crying, and it felt like I was. It wasn't emulating rape. No, I felt it, y'all. I felt the sensation of being raped several times. Like I was making like like I was doing that and think about when you do like crunches, but not full body crunches, just those little baby crunches where you pick your head up a little bit off the ground and then you go back down. It felt like that, but imagine times 10. It was more intense. It was like my body kept curling up, and it would stay curled up for a moment before it went back to a rest phase, and then it would do the same thing again. And I was just crying and saying I'll stop, like I'll be good, like I would have like very momentary breaks where she would stop, and I would breathe a little bit and cry, and then literally like 10 seconds, and she'll get right back to it. And I remember one part where she was struggling to pull some trauma out, and I was like, "Hold on, mama, let me talk to my soul." And I had my eyes closed. Keep in mind, I would talk to my soul. I would talk to myself, and I would say like, "It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. You don't. We're here. You're safe." And then I called upon my angelic form, and I needed some of that um divine masculine energy and light energy, and I called upon that, and I also channeled that form of my higher self to help me get through some of that, because y'all, she was not budging. I was not budging. And after a few seconds, I was like, hold on, mama, because mama couldn't get it out. Kate, she couldn't get this trauma out. Like, if she pulled any harder, I probably would have been dead. And she knew that. So I was like, hold on, mama, hold on. And she stopped. So I started talking to my soul, and I was like, "It's okay. You're gonna be okay. Just get out. Let's get this out, so we'll get it over with, okay? And you'll be good again. I promise. I promise you'll be good." And I called upon my angelic higher self, and I pulled that into my body, and I imagined them coddling me and holding me, and them saying it's okay in their voice. They got a deep voice, like it's okay. And then I just started crying, crying, and I was like. And she went back to tugging again, and it was traumatic. And at one point, I hated it. This is why I hate this family. My grandmother, I hate that fucking bitch. She came in, busting in my door, because I had my clothes in her room, and she wanted me to get them out of her way. And I was like, ugh. So imagine still crying, going through that trauma, and somebody busting in your room talking about get your clothes. Like, girl, shut up. Croak over already. I don't give a fuck how they come out. I don't give a fuck how I sound. I mean what I say. I don't give a fuck. But just wait until I leave, and then you can do what the fuck you want to do with your life. I don't give a fuck. But yeah, so I had to get my clothes out while still crying and sobbing. And then I came back in my room, and I was like, I can't do this no more. I need a break. I can't. I'm done. Keep in mind, that was going on. Keep in mind, all of that was happening for a fucking hour with my eyes closed, crying, saying, I'm sorry. I'll stop. I'll be a good boy. I'll be good. I promise. Please, please. For 2 days. Well, not for 2 days. For 1 hour. And then after that, it took me 2 days to recover. Like, I felt so small and little, and I wanted to keep to myself those entire 2 days, which I did. And I was laughing through those 2 days too, a little bit, making jokes, because it's just how I am. I felt tiny. I felt like, you wanna know why I felt small and tiny? Because I felt vulnerable. So I felt super vulnerable, and I just could not take it. I was like, okay, mom, we're done. And there were moments where she was trying subtly. But I made her stop, because with me, when it comes to trauma or anything for that matter, I work it out through my imagination. So I will create scenarios that will help me get through that, which I was doing those past 2 days while I was feeling super exposed and vulnerable. So after those 2 days were up, I ended up doing sex magic. Because at the time, keep in mind, I didn't say this at the beginning. That's why I brought up my demons first. I didn't know it was Asmodeus at the time at first. Because when I channeled my demonic family, I just channeled whichever ones wanted to come through. Mainly the ones that I saw in my dream that appeared to me, that decided to show themselves finally to me. But I was, and of course, Asmodeus is part of my demonic family, infernal family. But I really wasn't calling on him specifically. I was just my demonic family that has my best intentions at heart and that are connected to me at this current moment, and that's been helping me on my journey, and that's primary to me. I was only calling those ones in. Hey, I didn't think about Asmodeus. Duh. I probably called him Beelzebub, didn't even know it. But I after 2 days were up, I started doing sex magic. And keep in mind, when I first channeled my demonic family, I don't think I said this in my last video, but when I first channeled my demonic family, my video when I was talking about channeling demons and humans and fairies and all that stuff, when I was channeling my demonic family, it was helping me through sex and being primal and being okay with filth. So yeah, I was probably channeling Asmodeus too, because I was having thoughts about like filth and stuff like that. So, which is not unusual in general for me, because I imagine everything. So yeah, but my imaginations were just more so focused on stuff like that. So my sticker, how did it get like this? My nose. Sorry if you was eating. Can't beat me up. This to the past. Past, future, doesn't matter. I don't exist where you are. Okay. So I started doing sex magic, and I was not realizing then, but now obviously I know that I was channeling Asmodeus, because I was working on my sex magic beforehand, but this time after those 2 days, I ended up doing randomly, y'all, doing sex magic. So I started using. I had a jar. I don't have lube, obviously, but I had a jar of honey, a bottle of honey. So I was using that as lube. So I was rubbing the honey on my body and on my princess wand, my dick, and I was drinking the honey as well out of the bottle, and I was moving my tongues in very sensual ways, and I could feel my teeth. It felt like I had fangs. So I was doing all that, and of course I had music playing. I want to say, no, this. I want to say I had my headphones in, listening to somebody talk dirty to me, but that was another time. That was the time before this. This time, I I didn't have any headphones in. No, this time I was just doing it, and I was playing music on my speaker, and I had the honey, and I want to say I had the TV playing Rain and Thunder music. Well, Rain and Thunder sounds, and I had the honey. I had a sexual playlist playing on my Spotify, and I started, being very sensual, very sexual, and I was learning to orgasm without actually coming. So I orgasmed about 10 fucking times, y'all, to the point where I was drained. I felt like a newborn baby. That's the best way to put it, because the way I was, if y'all could have saw how I was walking, I felt like, I couldn't walk. So I felt like a baby walking like a toddler walking for the first time, to go clean up myself, because I made a mess. I tasted my cum, obviously, and so I was eating my pre-cum and all that stuff, and my cum in general, which it don't taste bad. Mine doesn't. I don't know about y'all's. Y'all's meant to like roast beef, and that's okay. Beef jerky come. Beef jerky piss. Sorry if y'all hear that noise. I'm peeling off a sticker on my laptop. An old sticker that somehow faded. I don't know how. But yeah, so I was doing that. After all that, I felt so good. I felt so dead. I felt high. I felt high. I felt good. I felt like a newborn baby walking for the first time. And all I could do was just laugh. The entire time I was laughing. And I was looking in the mirror at myself too, just laughing like, girl, what have we become? Girl, what did we just do? It was crazy this time. I will say this, I've never done that before, y'all. Orgasm 10 times without coming, that's not easy. But I want to play with myself and really understand my body and not give up my power. Because when people masturbate, they give up a lot of their energy. That's why a lot of people feel drained. After I started understanding more about sex magic, and I'll make a video about this too, and I'm talking about this too as well. And I'm talking about the first time I did it. So don't worry, that video is coming. What I've learned is that a lot of people do sex magic unconsciously, and they do it in a way where they're drained. I've been masturbating about every other day, and every time I do it, I feel positive. I feel good. I recover within an hour or within 30 minutes, sometimes within 5 minutes. A lot of times it's been within the last few times, it's been within 5 minutes. Like, I would literally masturbate and get up and make a YouTube video. I would either feel two things, creative, or I would feel chill as fuck. Not drained though, relaxed and chill. And so yeah, a lot of people just don't know how to masturbate right. That's it. Because like I said, I'm left path leaning, and left path leaning, I don't shy from my darkness, nor do I shy away from the primal nature. People want so bad to not be primal, to not be, that's literally part of your divine makeup. However, I will say this, everybody's path is different. So some people aren't meant to be fully primal, but you're not supposed to shout. I'm not saying you need to masturbate every fucking day, no. But what you need to do is not have a negative connection to masturbating, because once you do, that drains your energy. Because sex energy is creative energy, right? And like I said, I'm gonna do a whole video about this, of what I learned. But yeah, long story short, I feel really good doing it. And sometimes I do it twice a day. Nah, sometimes I might do it 3, but it's usually just like once a day, or once every few days. Oh girl, and I realized like I'll go like day. I'm very much asexual as much as I am hypersexual. So if I go like this is the whole video I'm talking about in my sex video. Don't worry about it. But long story short, it was great. I got back in the bed and I started laughing crazy this time, like a little bit more, and I started saying blasphemous stuff. So when I got in the bed this time, at first I got into like the fetal position, or like the tornado drill position, where you like curl up into a ball. And I did that, and I was cuddled up with my stuffed animals, and I was just sitting there thinking about, for a few minutes I was just sitting there thinking about just everything. And I was thinking about how funny it was 2 days prior to, sorry, there was a bug on my laptop, I smacked it. It was a gnat. I hate those little bitches. I think it's gone, but when they see light, y'all know how they be in the dark. So I was sitting there thinking like how funny it was that 2 days prior to that I was just crying about healing from my sex trauma, and how I was feeling so vulnerable, and how 2 days after that I'm over here doing the whole sex magic and laughing at myself, calling myself a weak whip. It's in a funny way, not like in an actual like, yeah, you're this, you're that. No, like I was just joking with myself. and laughing. And then I started saying like, well, how did this even happen? If I'm being honest, it's crazy work. Oh, I think it's in my phone because I put it in my phone. Actually, let me see. Hold up. Whatever, y'all. I can find it. I don't feel like looking, and I don't care enough to look that much. But real quick, the video's almost over. So, anyways, I was sitting in my bed and curled up with the stuffed animals, and I kept laughing and saying and just laughing. I started laughing crazy because I was just like, wow, this is all so funny. This is also insane to me. Just feeling that. And I was as I was laughing. Oh yeah, that's why I was laughing. Because I had started laughing and then I had started saying I'll be a good boy. I'll be a good boy. And I would imagine like a choker around my neck and me being chained. And I kept saying that, rocking back and forth, curled up in tornado position. I'll be a good boy. I'll be good. I promise. I was saying what I was saying. Um, when Mama was pulling out that trauma, when she was pulling out the trauma, where I was like, "I'll be good. I promise. I'll be good," while I was crying. And I also got to mention, I felt bad after that experience for 2 days. I felt vulnerable and I felt bad because I'm like, why did this happen? How could I let this happen? Stuff like that. Like it was my fault. I was blaming myself for those 2 days as well. So I forgot to say that. What the fuck? The notification on my phone. But those when I was crying and I was saying, I'll be good, I promise I'll be a good boy, I promise I'll be good, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I was saying that, but in reverse. Like I was saying that, but it was with laughter and with joy and not tears, and I wasn't crying. I was having fun with it, and I kept saying it. Like, I'll be fucking good, I'll be good, I promise. And then after like a few minutes of doing that, I felt this energy coming to me. It was Asmodeus, obviously. And I call him daddy. Um Asmodeus feels like an uncle. He feels like an uncle that I would call daddy. He feels like that uncle of your favorite, like your dad, right? And now, let's say you have a dad, right? And he's so cool and so fun and all that. He's like, Asmodeus is like that uncle who you call a dad. He's so cool and he's so much like a dad. It's like you'll call him dad, but he gives like that cool uncle vibe. And he came into me. I felt him come in from the back, like mid back towards my lower body, from like my butt on down. And I felt his energy just come inside my body. And I was just like saying stuff like, because at first I was like, I was still saying like, I'll be good, I'll be good. And I was just, I know this part was being funny. I was like, because keep in mind, I have been watching Sabrina on Netflix, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And I was like, um, so when he was in my body, I was like, I could feel his fangs when he laughed. And I was like, you're my god. Because keep in mind, I'm a trickster archetype, right? That's one of my core things. So I was making fun of people. I was making fun of people, right? I was making fun of the people who take it too far when they worship. But I was also making fun of people who I was making fun of people who demonize, I guess you can say, people like me, and how church folk and regular people would demonize, would call anything demonic and evil. So I was mocking both ends of it. Like how the people on the left hand path, they're like, yeah, I worship. Some people can edge lords. I'm talking about edge lords. So I was mocking edge lords, people who take it too far, like, yeah, the demons, yeah, the infernal family, yeah, like, like in a weird, like, okay, you're doing too much type of way. but I was also mocking like Christians and people who demonize everything. So I was shouting blasphemies on purpose, and I was like, yeah, Asmodeus. I was like, I didn't say Asmodeus names because they were in my body. I knew they were in my body, so I was talking to them. I was like, yeah, you're my God. You're a God. You're the real God. Fuck the false God. I was like, fuck the false God. Fuck your false God. And he started laughing. His laugh is very sharp and hard and intense. And he was like saying through my body, he was laughing like, this one gets it. This one gets it. Because I was having fun with it. I was having fun with like how humans are in general. And that went on for a while, and I was asking him, please, 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 can I have like a present? Please, 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 please. And he was like, yeah, okay, I'll give you a present. I don't know what or when. I did a tarot reading. So I don't know. This happened a month ago. So like that time I did a tarot reading. Technically it was like 3 weeks ago. 3 or 4 weeks. Well, about a month ago. It was a month ago. No. It was like 3 weeks ago. So it was last month, but so yeah. It was like the last 2 weeks of last month. So yeah, I did tarot reading to see like, is he gonna give me a present? And he is. I just don't know what the fuck it's gonna be or when. But I asked him to give me a choker. But I also said like, it doesn't even have to be a choker, just something. But I would love a choker if you would give me that. But he was like, yeah, I'll give you a present. He was laughing like, yeah, I'll give you a present. I'll give you a present. I was like, okay. And I kept joking and laughing and stuff like that. Literally that entire day or that entire moment, I would say it was like 20 minutes collectively, like, because I would take breaks just talking to myself, but then I would just make jokes again, like, yeah, like, false God, like, that's not the real God, like, screw God, God doesn't exist, and all that stuff, just in a joking way, because I have a different relationship with God. I don't call God God. God is an aspect of pure imagination that is more parental, right? And so yeah, I don't look at God as like God. I look at God as an aspect of pure imagination. Yeah, so I was just saying that just to be funny, and because I had my own religious trauma, so I was also making fun of that too. So yeah, I was just like, yeah, like, you're the only God. You're my God. I worship you. I worship you. Because you know how people always act like somebody gotta worship somebody. Just because you serve a deity, or just because you're connected to entities or other beings or other gods or whatever, doesn't mean you worship them. So I was making fun of people who automatically say, yeah, you're a worshiper, you're a devil worshiper. So I was making fun of them, and I was also making fun of the edgelords and the people who do worship these beings and take it too far. And I was also making fun of my like religious trauma. So on all levels. So yeah, that was fun. And then at night I just felt good. I went to sleep. I was chilling the rest of the night. I felt high, like I took a powerful aphrodisiac. But yeah, y'all, that was it. That was my little experience. I hope y'all enjoyed that. It was a doozy. It was a woozy. I wish I could find the text, but whatever. I didn't feel like going through that, and I wanted to get off. I want to stop talking because my nose is stuffy as fuck. I'm gonna edit this video real quick and save it in my little files and go to bed. So fuck y'all. But yeah, I love y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed that. It was crazy. Love Hekate, love Asmodeus. I love them zell. And yeah, they took me for a doozy. They did. Alright, bye y'all. Fuckers. I hate y'all. You devil worshippers. You and your devilment. You and your fucking devilment. What did you and your devilment do?